united with the source. And this is what we're doing here. Well, these are what spiritual talks about, for us to unite with the source, each one in our own way. And that is what yoga is all about, connecting with the highest in all of us. But we always seem to think the divine is away from us and not within us. But yet we know we come from the same shell, we know we come from the same beginning, and yet we are so different. So the whole way to find peace is to understand that unity in diversity, that we are really one. But how do you live it in this life when there's so much diversity, so many different cultures? We were just talking today, and she said, oh, sometimes people cancel last moment. I said, oh, this is Spain. You get used to it, You never know what's going to happen, which is wonderful because it's a great exercise. I said, when I'm in Hong Kong, everything is like people are seated 10 minutes before, everything is really quiet, and then you enter. It's a different culture, and different places have different culture. And this is, how do people, live in peace, accepting all these differences? And the secret to finding peace is knowing yourself and knowing that this is all ego stuff that people worry about. And when we're worried about how we look in front of people, or what people think of us, or if there's too many people or too little people, then we never find peace wherever we are. We're always looking for kind of affirmation for who we are. So the first place we have to find peace is really within who we are. And how I learned this was when I found that I could not change anybody. We still try, don't we? I have people who come to yoga for about 20 years, and they meet a partner, and they come to me, oh, but don't you know you can't change this person? Didn't you learn that after 20 years? Either you go accepting, and if you can't accept, know it now. Be strong enough to know it now. Don't lose your power or your freedom. This is really important. In yoga, we talk about moksha, freedom. So every time we talk about freedom, then a test comes to test our freedom. How much do we really want it? Or are we attached to certain things? Are we attached to certain ideas? So peace only comes when you first and foremost know who you are. And that is the inner search. Who am I, right? This is Ramana Maharishi. That's what he taught. He said, just ask, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? But for some of us, especially those brought up in the West, it's not that easy to do because you're not brought up to think those things. So to change the whole psyche takes a little bit of time. It takes a change in consciousness. And this is what we have to understand in ourselves, that we have layers. We have so many layers, and this is why I love the study of yoga. It tells us all about our layers when you study it intensely. Talk about the 5 koshas. Who are we? One, we're part of the body, then we're part of the breathing process, then we're part of the mind, then we're part of the intellect, and the real us is blissful. How do we get there? All in one body. I could do a talk on that for 5 hours, but we don't have that today, and that's called the koshas. So all these elements, we're so much more. We are a mixture of emotions, and sometimes our emotions are so powerful, we lose our train of thought and thinking. So the whole yoga study is, how do you want peace? How do you want peace? Yogas chitta vritti nirodha tadatra sui swarupe vastanam. The restraint of the modification of the mind stuff is yoga, and then the siya abides in its own true nature. So, keep going back to that. What is my true nature? Every time you get disturbed, okay, this is happening to my mind. Am I this mind? Am I this mind? Yeah, right now I really feel that I'm this mind. It's okay. I can feel it. But know also I am spirit. Also know I am spirit, and I can watch my mind. I can watch my mind. Can you watch your mind think? Can you watch your mind think? Anybody in this room, can you all watch your mind think? And if you can't, please start the meditation practice. You'll be surprised. Because what you thought your mind was thinking wouldn't be that way. When I started to meditate, I thought I was a good person. I thought I knew a lot. I thought I was intelligent. I would laugh. When the first time I sat down to meditate. My master said to me, your job is to love wherever you are and have a pure mind. Just sat down, what happened? All the problems came up. And all the people who hurt me came up. All my anger came up, and I go, oh my goodness. I can't work outside with the world anymore. I have to find out how to fix this. Because it's my mind that's stopping me from realizing who I am. It's that layer, it's blocked. People talk about the chakras being blocked. I think thoughts are the worst things. Forget about the chakras, learn about your own thoughts first. That can come later when you're healing stuff yourself, and that's further practice. Not really necessary also if you can learn to control your thoughts. Because automatically, which is the shortcut, and the yogis speak about it, when you fill your heart with understanding, forgiveness, and love, and you have discriminative discernment, which means you know when to do what, and you don't feel guilt about everything you do, because human beings are brought up to feel guilty. Original sin has been, punctured into our culture, especially the Western culture, especially Christianity. From the moment you're born, you're told you have original sin, and this has gone on for centuries. So of course, when I heard my Gurudev say, you're a child of God, how dare you say you are a sinner? How dare, he said to me, you're a child of God. And that made me like, whoa, it's true, we all are. We all are. So if you really want inner peace, the most effective, simple work is every time you point your fingers out there blaming somebody, is to start saying, no. This is an old pattern. This is an old pattern taught to me. I know I cannot change the outside world, but I can change me. That's one thing you can do. And there's a lovely, I think it's a Christian prayer. It's anonymous, so it goes like, Lord, grant me this serenity. Do you know it? Well, you can say it with me. Lord, grant me this serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So first I thought the courage to, serenity, we all know. This is the talk, right? Inner peace. So, yeah, we all want serenity. The courage to change the things I can. So in the early days, I thought, I can change this. My partner, my late husband of 34 years, he died 2008. And I thought, I can change this, I can change this. I realized the courage actually to change the things I can was, the only thing I could change was me. The courage to let go of my ego. The courage to let go of all that control. The courage to just let go and accept life as it was. The courage to be in the moment. The courage to accept the divine will. Oh my God, that was years of work, years of meditation, years and years. Oneself. It's actually the hardest thing to do. That's why we all point fingers. Or that's why we blame the world. Oh, the world is a terrible place. Because it's much easier to look outside. It's harder to look inside. It's harder to say, you know what? This situation has come to me because I need to learn something from it. So it's not that that person is horrible. That person is horrible to teach me to either have more courage or to speak up in truth and in love. And then that's another teaching. So not only do you have to speak up in truth and in love, you have to speak with non-attachment. Somebody asked me a question the other day at the Hatha Yoga class. She said, but Nalanie, sometimes when you tell people the truth, they get very upset. And I said, yes, they do. But you have to know when to tell them the truth. Yeah, but they'll feel bad. Isn't it better we keep it inside? I said, if you keep it inside, after all, you burn. You'll burn, because if you want to tell somebody and you feel you can't, you're keeping inside and it's affecting you, you're going to keep it inside, you're going to keep it inside. One day that pressure cooker will just burst. I said, if it's somebody close to you, then you need to tell them because you're living with them. So constantly that thought will be in your head. So you're living as a hypocrite. How can there be peace in such a home? There can be no peace. So she said, how do we do it then? I said, you choose the right moment. The sutra says, speech should be beneficial, should be said in peace, at the right time, the courage to change things I can. Normally we don't like something, we'll say it when it's this time now, I want to say it now. No, hold back until the time is right. And that's the way to do it. And then she said, really, even if you do all that and the person gets angry, then I said, then we go to another sutra. You practice non-attachment. And this is why I love the Raj Yoga Sutras of Sri Patanjali, because they all link up. You practice non-attachment, but how do you do that? So I said, in a case, any of you have children here? Okay, so you have children, you understand this. When a child comes and they do something wrong, you love them. You tell them, this is not good for you. They don't listen. They do it again and again and again. And then you finally, okay, you're punished, go in the room, no dinner tonight, or whatever it is, you tell them. It's painful. The child gets angry. The child will rebel. Mom, why did you do this? Well, normal. Children do rebel. It's hard. It's hard for a mother. You don't want to scold them, but you do it with love. You do it with love, not with anger. It can't be done with anger. And it can't be done because you're tired or anything to do with you. The intent has to be for the betterment of the person or the child. And the child knows this. The child will know this as an adult, because we're all children inside. You know that, right? We're all babies inside. We just need a lot of love. It's just that when you get older, nobody treats you like that anymore. They get embarrassed to show love. I don't know why, when it's so nice to show love. Anyway, so with a child, and then they will get angry. And the secret of a successful relationship between mother and child is non-attachment. It doesn't matter, you want to shout, scream, that's your problem, you're in the room. I did that with my children a lot when they were young. Just, okay, finished. But Mom, I'm hungry yet. Learn to say sorry. No problem. No anger. You didn't say sorry? No dinner. Of course, I'm like, oh my God, he's only 6 years old. Non-attachment. It was a hard journey. But I did it. And then what? Midnight he comes, Mom, I'm really sorry. Can you feed me? Of course. And after that, he learned to say sorry. Do you know, there's simple things, and we're best friends, and he's 46 today, and we're still really good friends. So it's when you are truthful, and when you do it with love, even though it's painful for the other person, they know you're doing it from love. You have to apply these truths in your life. You see, we get very confused with spirituality because all the teachings seem so paradoxical. You know, you read one teacher will say this, another one will say that. That's why it's the courage to change the things I can. You've got to know who you are, okay? You've got to know what kind of personality you are. What is your personality? Who are you? Do you get offended quickly? Are you too sensitive? Are you too emotional? Or are you too weak? You know, I always say, weakness is not goodness. Because I have seen so many people say, oh, I don't want to hurt them. I said, no, you just lack courage. Nothing to do with your goodness. It's just because you lack the courage. Many people lack courage to say the truth. So I said, wake up. Wake up. What is your intention? Always look at your intention. Because knowing your intention will give you peace. My intention is to love and to create harmony. This is imbalance. I'm lying. I mean, you're not lying physically. You're lying to yourself internally. And that's the worst thing you can do, because what will happen? The body will get sick. the body will start getting sick, it'll start breaking down. You'll notice most people will start with a little back pain, knee pain, means you can't move forward. You start to get little kinds of achy pains telling you, hey, there's something not going right in your body. I'm not talking about when you get older, that's the machine breaking down a little. But when you're younger, it is, if you get so many pains when you're younger, it's almost always psychosomatic. I know I was an asthmatic at the age of 33 when I started this path. I was on about 32 tablets a day because I was so angry about so many things in my life. And yet I was in an environment that really wasn't as bad as my mind made it out to be. So within 6 months of meditation, my medication went down 50%, and I wasn't even into meditation for my health. I didn't even think about the health. I just wanted to love. I just wanted to be good. I just wanted to be kind, really simply, and I didn't like who I was. And I was blaming everybody at that time. So the meditation gave me the courage to see the state of my mind, and then the courage to say, okay, this is how I should alter my mind. What is the next practice? I need to study. I'm starving. I want to know. So I read the lives of all the great saints you can think about, starting with my own master, Swami Satchidananda. Then I started to read Paramahansa Yogananda, Ramakrishna, all of them. Ramana Maharishi went to India, did the tour. But then I'm very lucky, I come from a very spiritual father who also made it very easy for me to see. Because sometimes you go to the yoga schools, sometimes I feel, forgive me, I feel there's so much judgment. There's so much judgment. Don't do this and don't do that and don't do this. If you do this, you're bad. I just I'm not a child, I need to walk my path. This is wrong, that is right. It's just too much judgment for me. And in the early days, I was doing that. And I didn't like it. So from one cage, from a silver cage, I went into a golden cage, but still a cage. Still a cage. That's what my master said. A better cage, still a cage. But then, as I started to work more and get old, and life teaches you, you have children, you have grandchildren, and a special needs child, my husband died, life teaches you so much. It really does, and you become so humbled by it. You become so humbled. And you see none of the pain that you receive is punishment, but the earth and divine and the University of Life just wanted so much for me to find the goal that I wanted, which is I want to know God before I died. That was what I asked for. I wanted peace. And I wanted it here in this body, not somebody else's body. I want to do it for me because this is the only body I know and I can do something about. I can't change anybody. And I'm so thrilled that life taught me that. It was a hard lesson, but it was a great lesson. And I thank all those people who caused me so much pain, because without them, I wouldn't understand pain. I wouldn't understand any of it. You have to walk through the fire, as Viktor Frankl said. A candle has to give light, so it burns to give light. That was Guru that said that. Candle burns to give light. Viktor Frankl said, when you endure pain, you also give light. And really, if we can look at pain like that, then we have inner peace. And that's the first place to start. Look at the painful things in your life and think of them as blessings. And that switch is the hardest thing to do, because the mind loves to hang on, like I said. It's your fault that I had to go through all this. Oh, thank God you did all that rubbish that I've come through to be here. Do you know, that is what we need to change. And that was my change. And we all have that, because everybody who's in spirituality or sitting in this room, all of you wouldn't be sitting here if you haven't had these soul-searching questions, if you haven't had this in your soul. Why me? Why this? What am I here for? Is this all there is to life? This play of emotions, up, down, up, down, up, down? Sri Patanjali tells us, he tells us, watch out, disease, dullness, doubt. When you have disease, your mind becomes weak. So when you're sick, everything looks dark, right? How many of you have been really sick in your life? Yeah, and at that point, it's quite dark. All the dark thoughts come up. And this is the secret that people don't understand. And we all have the divine. Yes, life can be really cruel. It can be really cruel, but it's cruel to everybody. Oh, only good people suffer. What rubbish. I know bad people who suffer too. You just don't see it. They hide it with the money. But I've been into those rich homes, many of them. And don't you believe that they don't suffer? It's a different kind of suffering. All arguing over money, wanting to kill each other, the swearing, the competition, the jealousies. Oh my God. Everybody suffers. So, and that's what okay, so how do I find inner peace? Learn, listen to our world. It talks to you. The people that come into your life. Don't be so busy on the phone. Don't be so busy everywhere. Have some quiet time. We've lost communication with our inner self. We lost communication with the divine source. There's too much noise all the time. Too much thinking, and it's coming from our own head. So how do you stop it? And that's why we do mantra chanting. At least for a few seconds it's quiet. And that few seconds is like to the mind. And then when you do more of those few seconds, the more time that you spend of those few seconds, the more you want. And the more you want, then everything that you will touch or read or be around will be something to uplift you. To uplift you. Of course there's going to be bad days. Of course. It's always going to be there. But then okay, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Everything passes. Days go so quickly. Only this moment is real. The rest are shadows. It's something I wrote in my book long ago. Because I learned that. Only this moment is real. The rest are shadows. So in this moment, how can I be of service? And really, of service is the healer for all of us. I know people think, you talk about service, it's pathetic, people will use you, you're wrong. Real service comes from the heart. My master always said, you look at the apple tree and all your trees that you are now growing, they just give you fruit. They give you fruit. They don't ask of anything. They give us shade, they give us fruit. And we're part of nature. And we're the only ones that are grabbing and asking. Whereas we should give fruit. And the whole Bhagavad Gita, if you study it, in the Bhagavad Gita, do not eat the fruits of your actions. What does that mean? You got it in the Bible too, Adam and Eve, don't eat the fruit. It means just do what you have to do and expect nothing. But that is a lot to learn. So life has to teach you that. And that's why we get all these bangs, The other day I had somebody who does wonderful, wonderful, wonderful work all over the world with charities. Really incredible woman. But she'd given herself so much to the world that she became full of pain because, of course, it's not what you give. You will get people who will betray you. You'll get people who hurt you. Doesn't mean just because you do good that people won't do that. Everybody here does good. You will be betrayed one day. Don't worry about it. They're there to teach you non-attachment. That's all, because it's absolutely happened to me so many times in my life. Now it's quite a joke, And when they do that, I just go, no problem. But it's really no problem. You come to that stage. Thanks for all the training. So it's just training. Anyway, she was really upset about, I've done so much for the world, and I've done this, and I've done this, and I've done so much for this person, and now they betray me. And I said, it's your fault. what you saying, Nalanie? I said, I was the same. Because we think weakness is goodness, but if you see that somebody's taking all your energy away, you need to balance your life. Now your home life is suffering because you're telling your partner, I have to serve, but that's not service, because you're serving as an ego point of view. I am serving, I am doing good, so everybody knows you are doing good. But what about the real people that matter? What about the real people that matter? I said, at the end of the day, when my husband was dying, who was with him? Me and my kids. Yes, people were nice and they really helped. We were really lucky. The Sangha in Spain were just wonderful. Every night they brought us dinner. It was so kind. They were so kind. But really, in his pain, who was there for my husband? Me and my children. So you need to know. Sometimes service is when there's no I in it. When there's no I in it. And my master taught me this, and this is also for inner peace, because you're all in the work of service. One day he said to me, he came here and I was looking after him. And, at this time, this was his second trip here. And this is us as human beings. I'm giving you these stories, so I think we all have the same kind of traits in all of us. If you know one emotional body, you kind of know all. This is the yoga of the science of all of us. Anyway, early stages of yoga practice, I thought I could heal people, Gurudev, somebody came, touched that, the arthritis one, Gurudev, all this talk, I could help this one, that one. And he looked at me, Nalanie, you can save no one, help yourself. I left him to Malaga Airport. All the way home, I cried. I simply cried. I said, why did he say that to me? And then I realized why. All I was saying was, I did. And then later on he taught me, he said, you don't go anywhere. If people need you, they will call, they will ask. And that was the best lesson he taught me. And this is where you don't need the fruits of your actions. They need me. You're there. You're not forcing yourself on anybody. Do you know what I'm saying? See, wait till they ask. Because sometimes I see people who want to serve get drained because they're so tired. They're trying so hard to help everyone, but they have no more energy left for themselves. So how do you find inner peace in all of this, the world we live in? We talk about service, but service is beautiful, so you wait. The calling will come. It will come. But the work we have to do is to keep this mind clean. And how do you do that? It's by watching it constantly. And then you break old habits. You literally break old habits. In the beginning, it's really hard. And in the beginning, I used to blame everything. It was my husband's fault. It was my mother-in-law's fault. It was this one's fault. It was Gibraltar's fault. It was the shop's fault. I had to work so hard. It was the rain's fault. It was everybody's fault. And that's why the shop got flooded every year. And every year things broke down. And because my mind was that way. And when I stopped, everything stopped. And I go, oh, they're all my teachers. They're all my teachers, not my enemies. And that's how you find inner peace. And then just being, in places away from the noise and the bustle is so very, very important. In the early days of my practice, I had to be away. I went for one retreat and I don't know what happened after that. I gave all the retreats, about 85 or something like that, over the years. But even when I was giving a retreat, it was a retreat for me, because all you're talking about is this wonderful stuff. It's like I was saying, when you're talking about spirit, it's elevating, it makes you have energy. and nothing else, because otherwise if you spare and doing a lot of stuff, it's exhausting. It's exhausting, so you have to know when to stop, when to rest, because otherwise the body will, because spiritual energy is very high, so you need to constantly be in the energy field of that which is light and loving. And that's how you can find inner peace. And that's the Nava Sutra. Be around happy people, Sri Patanjali tells us. Be around people who uplift you, make you laugh. Be around happy people. Yes, there's sadness in the world. We all know that. There's a lot of pain in the world. Yes, there is. Governments are all very selfish. Yes, 100%. All this is going on. Rise above it all. Transcend it. If you can do something about it, if you've been made a government minister, or you're in the TV business, or you can do something about it and change it, do it. But if you're like me, an ordinary person, all you can do is send love to the world. That is the best thing we can do. My master used to say, the world doesn't need one more depressed person. The world needs one more happy person. The world needs more healers, more joyful people, more laughter. There are too many people suffering. It doesn't need that. And this is how we find our peace, because we rise above the sorrow. And this is the wonder of our human spirit. It is the wonder. I mean, you've all heard so many stories about miracles in times of need, how people suddenly get angels, or something happens, a miracle happens. When you're on this path, you see it all the time. When you elevate, you get so many signs. And then life is so much fun. Then you get the inner peace automatically. Then you're not interested in all the nonsense, the gossip, the silly things, or you'll just listen and let go, listen and let go. But you won't hold those thoughts in your head. You'll just let them go. Because there's more interesting things to look for in nature. There's more exciting things to get. And the most important thing is feeling the joy. Yesterday I was speaking about, I don't know if any of you were in Zoom, we talk about the samadhi. Samadhi means absorbing into consciousness. It's about, they call it nirvana in Buddhism, and in Christian, it's joining with the Holy Spirit, right? So we're talking about Savichara Samadhi. And Savichara Samadhi is a feeling of bliss, but nothing external. There's no external stimuli that gives you that bliss. It's after years of meditating and then looking within, changing your own energy field into a higher energy field of understanding, love, forgiveness. Then by itself, Savichara Samadhi happens. Just you can be sitting there and all of a sudden there's this bliss. Nothing's caused it. And this is how many of you felt that? And if you haven't, please stop meditating. Because when that happens, it's quite cool. It's the first time it happened to me, I remember it was many years ago. I was in Kalahonda. My husband and I had a little apartment there by the beach. And it was a weekend, and it was a Saturday afternoon. We used to work all week, so we got to Kalahonda and we just take a nap. But suddenly I was woken up from this nap, and I had these waves of bliss coming through my body. I mean, like, joyful. I mean, oh my God, what's going on here? Never felt this kind of stuff before. This is beyond my body. I don't know what it is, but I was very, very lucky. My guru was alive in those days, because I really couldn't understand what was going on. But it was beautiful. It was just beautiful. And so anyway, it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which is 10 o'clock in the US. And it's not easy to get in touch with my master. He's so famous. I called, and the secretary said, yes, Gurudev said he'll speak to you. I said, Gurudev, I know what's happening to me. I'm not on drugs. I said, I just got this feeling. And he said, what does it feel like? So I said, it's like waves coming from my feet all the way up. and it's like waves in my body. And he said, Nalanie, tell me, what else do you feel? I said, it's sensual. It's very sensual. It's not sexual. It's sensual. And then he said, oh, that's what. That's what he always answers. That's what. When I got it right, it was that's what. If I got it wrong, slam the phone. Yes, he would slam the phone down. Sort yourself out, girl, kind of thing. But I knew when he slammed the phone down, I was very grateful. See, I'd become so strong after that. I was grateful because I knew I had done something that I needed to change. So anyway, so that's what. And he said, Kundalini. I said, I am so happy. I am so happy for you. I didn't talk about it for many years. I kept it quiet. But nowadays, so many people are going through so many things. The spiritual studies are far greater. So, and you know, people want you to try plant medicines to go on this kind of bliss. But nothing you can take externally can give you that bliss. And that's what I want to tell people now. Don't bother with that stuff because you get high highs and high lows. What is borrowed, you have to return. But the internal bliss that you feel, you will never forget in your life. Go for the highest. Don't aim for the lowest. There's no quick way. I am sorry. People tell me maybe I'm very old-fashioned, I'm a purist, but I'm very sorry. There's no quick fix. And if it's a quick fix, it's a quick down as well. Slow and steady wins the race.